So the topic next week is we all need to say, that's not the topic because I'm so old I can't remember it. Oh yeah, we all need to stop saying I'm old. We just need to stop saying this immediately. And this is the discussion on that. This is the Jeskidding podcast where sometimes I say shit that's kind of inappropriate and I'm like, I was just kidding. And other times I say things and you're like, just kidding. That made me think about something. I'm here with a live audience on Twitch and with my friend Austin, who also goes by Redneck Rebel. And yeah, we're going to talk about what is it to be old? What the fuck is old? And why does everybody call themselves old? Are you ready, Austin? Are you fucking
ready to go.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, cool. So Austin, let's start with the topic at hand. What is old? What is it? How would you define old? Let's give a quick definition. Go.
I guess at the point where you just some people consider being old when they start breaking down.
That's
Their
fair.
body starts breaking down.
But wouldn't you say that that's a process that happens the entire time you're alive? I mean,
For sure.
I
I think it's really hard to define.
Don't
because I
little
think
kids
the
get
cutoff
back
is
problems
different.
sometimes? Like, you know what I'm saying? Isn't that little kid like, oh, what if that kid gets a broken leg, right? And it never heals the same. Is that kid old?
No, I would say it's hard to define. I think it's really, really hard to actually put a definition on it because the cutoff is different for everyone.
Right. So if it's so hard to define, why do you think it is? And I'm going to give a lot of opinions here because I do have a lot of opinions that every fucking buddy from the age of, I don't know, 17 starts saying, I'm so old. I mean, they do. Like, I meet kids who are like 19. They finally hit 17. They're like, oh my God, I'm old. I'm not 12 anymore. Then they're fucking 19. They're like, oh my God, I'm old. I'm not in high school anymore. 21. Oh my God, I'm old. I'm finally just hit 21. And this fucking annoying ass shit continues for their entire life. And what I think it does is it just ruins them. Because at every point, and I've done it too. At every point, they think that they're done, they're over the hill, they got nothing left in front of them. You know what I'm saying? They've kind of painted a really shitty forward-looking picture if that's old. So, to you, Austin, what's old?
Gosh, I mean, I think if I was going to put a cutoff age on it, like, I think we're talking like maybe like in your 70s is like getting old, I guess. I mean, I did the same thing growing up where it was like, oh man, you know, like I'm 18, I'm so old now. I'm 20, I'm so old. Like, it's like I'm about to turn 26 here in 10 days. And it's like, I'm so old, but I know I'm not.
So when you said it then, and I said it too, like in front of people who are older than you, was it like a tee-hee, I'm so old thing? Or did you feel like you were actually kind of old?
Sometimes I do, because when you think about like, sometimes it feels like you were just a kid like yesterday, and now all of a sudden you're 26. You have all these responsibilities, and
oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna write that down. We're writing shit down when Austin says something that's important because it's rare, so it needs to be written down.
That's right.
Right. So when you start, responsibility is a sign of age. I'm writing it down as if there'll be a test later. Responsibility is a test of age. So when you feel it, you're like, oh, I'm an adult. Right? That's like, it's funny because we use these terms in society. It's like, oh, I'm adulting now. Look at this shit. Being a responsible person now has been assigned to adulting. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody's fucking 26, they're like, oh, I'm adulting. Like, why is that person trying to like turn themselves into a 6-year-old? I don't understand. That's something a fucking small child would say. Like, how has this become part of society? Austin, help me with this.
I don't know. It's not any kind of phraseology I've ever used. I just always say being old sucks.
So, okay, so here it goes. Now we're getting to the root. We're getting to the root of the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say this with this little effect. To the root of the problem. Brought to you by Austin. Okay, Austin. You say this is getting old sucks, right? You've said that, right? How old were you when you made this claim?
Probably about the time when I started having to pay like a house payment or rent, and
okay,
you know, realizing how much it costs to live, you know, when your parents aren't fronting everything for you anymore and you start having to take on all this responsibility. It's like, wow, I'm an adult now, I guess. I'm pretty old.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So why is being an adult pretty old? So let's look at the scale, right? If you live average of 70-something years, unless you live in a place that eats fucking fried food all the time, right? And you live in your 70s, 80s, 90s, we could all become robots, right? How is somebody who's 20-something old?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, to somebody like your age, it's going to be like, no, you aren't old. You still got plenty of time. And I'll probably say the same thing to people my age whenever I'm your age.
How dare you? You act
Which
like...
we will not disclose.
I don't give a shit. I'm 46 years old. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. I'm not trying to hide nothing. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I look damn good. I'll look damn good when I'm 66 because I'll never be old. I'm fucking Peter Pan. Just for the crowd, so you know. I dated a girl named Wendy once. No, I didn't, actually. Does he date her? I don't know. I don't remember it because I'm too old. It's foggy. And I'm not old at all, actually. Sorry. Zed from the chat room says, I'm going to quote him, "This podcast is going to confuse me because I'm a young guy, but I have my bathrobe, slippers, leather armchair, pipe, fireplace, and get off my lawn, you dang whippersnapper moments." That's hilarious. So Zed has now taken the word old and associated it with very old isms. Those are old isms.
Stereotyped.
Like, yeah, you just stereotyped what an old person is, right? So you're part of the problem, Zed. No, you're not part of the problem. You're awesome. Somebody said in the chat room, "Oh my God, I'm 21. I can drink now. That's the benefit of being old or a downside." And I really want you to think about this, right? Like what you're saying. Now imagine you're and the lack of fucking what do you call it? Like consciousness and empathy when somebody's like 23 and there's like an 85-year-old guy like, I can't get by, and he's got a fucking walker, and he hears that 23-year-old be like, "Oh my God, we went out last night and I totally maxed out my credit cards. I'm so old." How do you think that fucking guy who's got the fucking potentially has the crypt keeper or the angel of death like actually helping his walker along right feels hearing that sentence? Austin.
Probably offensive. What do you mean? Look at me.
And then the thing that makes me laugh the most, right, is that everybody jokes that they're old and then mocks people who are old. Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't think? No, isn't that? Don't give me a real. Mm-hmm. That's a very like. Mm-hmm. Go on. I felt very judged at that moment. Were you judging me?
Never.
Okay, cool. So I feel like, because you're young and that would be disrespectful to my age. So I feel like, though, they're like, "Oh, I'm old, I'm old, I'm old." But then the second they find somebody older than them that they want to try to insult, which always makes me laugh, they're like, "You're old." I'm like, "Motherfucker, you just called yourself old 10 seconds ago. Why is it offensive to me? That's what you want to be." Or apparently, you're 16 years old. You're like, "Oh my God, I'm so old. I got my first fucking pain in my shoulder." Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody cares. Okay? Nobody cares. So
I think it's the milestones of life that make people feel that way because it's like, oh, I'm 18. I can actually go to jail.
That's actually true. I'm eating a sandwich, by the way.
And then it's like when you're 21, it's like, oh my God, I can drink, like somebody in the chat had said. And then it's like,
it's really good.
For me, a milestone that's coming up is like, I'm about to turn 26 and I need my own health insurance.
No, look, so does that make you old or does that make you an actual person in his prime entering into society?
I think it's that, but I think the milestones and the maturity jumps are what makes people think they are old.
Think they're old. And we're gonna get at this. We're gonna dive. You ready to dive with me, bro? With this old guy, according to a lot of people's standards. You ready? By the way, I'm eating a sandwich, and you know what old people do on camera? They don't give a fuck when they eat sandwiches on camera. Because we don't care. Because we're about to die. So, apparently, according to everybody. Just saying. I'm going to take a bite of my sandwich. Austin, you ready?
Mm-hmm. Let's see it live.
It's fucking good. It's delicious. So good. Entertain people while I'm eating, please. Austin, go ahead.
Wow, I'm not very good at this. Usually, you just are the entertainer, and I just say, yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, you're a little bit of the hype man. You're my southern hype man. Who would have thought that these combos would go together, but... Much like combos, somehow that fucking crusty ass bread surrounding little bits of fake cheese works. I don't know why. Mr.
We're
Hyde,
like 20-some years old apart and have the chemistry, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're like the weirdest chemistry experiment ever. Ether? That's a weird word. What does that mean? Is that like Heather? She got her H chopped off?
Be the A, too.
Yeah, the ether. So, what's up, Al? What's up, Mr. Hyde? So there's people in the chat room giving comments. Let's see. Mike said, I can move out, I can drink, I can get insurance, so basically death approaches. Let me tell you something, Mike. Rude fucking awakening. I'm going to enlighten you here today. Death is approaching the second you come onto this fucking earth. That never changes. You know what I'm saying? You could be eaten by a tiger if you lived in India and you were that small baby left in the jungle and the monkeys didn't raise you. You could be eaten by a tiger. So that's nothing to do with age. You know, responsibility has nothing to do with age. So I'm going to dispel myth number one. Dispelled. You know, like Mythbusters. This is more like Mythbusters 2. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's some kind of thing where we're getting rid of fucking myths, and that's a myth, right? Responsibility has nothing to do with age. It's just responsibility. It's called taking your part. Children in like bad countries, they're not bad. They just children have to work. Those kids are fucking responsible from the age of like 7. They're like, get the cattle, or we don't eat. You know, it's like.
So they just never feel young, probably.
So what is it to feel young? That's an interesting thing that you just said. You're saying interesting things today, by the way. I'm complimenting you, by the way, as well. Tell me about this. Tell me about. So they never get to experience being young. How is that? Why is that definition of being young playing with toys and having parents who tell you you're special?
I mean, you think about if you just think about like when you say, "Oh, when I was young," what age, what like segment of your life you attach that to? It's like for me, it's like growing up playing football and t-ball and baseball. And,
so you have a very particular vision of what it is to be young, right? To be young, you get to play with shit. You don't have to do shit except go to school and listen to your parents, because those are responsibilities. In fact, I'd say the responsibilities of having to listen to your parents are way fucking harder than listening to your fucking boss later on. That's just reverberations of listening to your parents telling you to go clean your room later. That's why we don't like it. You know what I'm saying?
But your boss probably doesn't like you as much.
But your boss pays you. The fuck do your parents do? They're like, here's some food, and I'm going to control everything you buy. It's fucked up, bro.
Well, and some clothes. And
that's some. And then some of us get too many clothes and we become assholes. So that's not good either. But so age, right? So age is, we think of youth as like a very particular idealized stereotype. We think like, I got my toys, and that back then I had no responsibility and everything was free and my body felt good. So that's all relative, right? Somebody in the chat room said it was relative. That's like, I don't know, fucking like a 6-year-old could be like to his 4-year-old little brother, be like, you know, I'm so old. You're 4, I'm 6. That's fucking stupid. That 6-year-old is going to grow up to be a stupid adult. Now, I think that it's important to differentiate, you know, this idea of old from actual fucking life responsibility. So that's dispelled. Dispelled number 1. Right? And dispel number 2, I'm a lot of dispels. Like, I'm like a fucking magician here, throwing out dispels. And number 2 is, let's also divorce it from, you know, an idealized childhood. Or an idealized sense of what it is to be old. That's number 3. I'm going to lose track because I'm old. So, because I'm making funny jokes about being old. So, number 3 is like, oh, the get off my lawn, or the picket fence, or... Like, when I was a kid, right, I pictured what it was to be a guy my age as a fucking fat dude. I burped because old people don't give a fuck. Fat dude on a lawn, right? With a big ass gut and a shirt that was like kind of hiked up and miserable. And I'm like, I don't want to be that fat guy. I don't want to grow up, and I don't want that fence, because that means I got old. So a lot of us go the other way and we take this other, but that's just some image. Right? I'm just like, if I just keep playing video games, I'll never age. Right? And that's not true, because I aged, but am I old? Would you say I'm old here?
I think the perspective gets different the older that you become.
Interesting.
Because
but me though, me in particular. Me. Am I old?
I mean, if I was going to categorize your age, I would say like middle age.
You'd say I'm middle aged. Wow, that in our culture, that's a real negative, right? I mean, isn't it?
I wouldn't think so. I mean,
I think so.
Some people around here describe it as being at the top of the mountain, and now you're going down the other side.
Right. So every image we've painted in this discussion, which is the reason I had this podcast, we all need to stop saying I'm fucking old, right? Presents a scenario where we say something where everything else is downhill from there. You know what I'm saying? And that's another example of that. I'm middle-aged, I'm at the top of the mountain, everything's downhill from here. But so is for the kid who's just 19 and his childhood is now gone. So how much of being old is mixed in with nostalgia? I think a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as like, oh, when I was fucking 12, I used to walk 40 miles to school barefoot with ninjas following me. And now it's you just, you know, riding your Uber or mechanical driven automatic car. You little fuck. Is that like, so some of that, right, is like this weird nostalgia makes you feel old because maybe it makes you feel like you can't relate to the new experiences of people? What do you think of that?
maybe a little bit. I think as like time goes on and you get mature and like we were kind of touching on earlier, it's like you have more responsibility, more things that you got to do that, maybe your parents, used to do for you. It's like, I think the perspective of it is different, whoever you ask, but like, I attach it to when it was like, when I was growing up and I didn't have to think about paying bills, I didn't have to make my own money. Everything was just done and taken care of for me. And then all of a sudden one day it's like, son, you're an adult now and you got to pay this and pay that. And then it's like, whoa, I'm getting old.
Surprise, but you're not motherfucker. That's what he said to you, right? And maybe not with my accent. No.
But see, like, because a guy like your age, 46, like, you look at me and say, well, you're not that old. No,
I look at you and I'm like, that guy's fucking ancient. Maybe. No, but you're not ancient. You're lovely. I don't mean that's getting weird. Okay, so Five Fox in the channel said, Fry Fly Fox, oh, I can finally see your name. A lot of feeling young is the way your mind is. I'm 58 and I still play games and have lots of fun. That's why Fox is awesome, because Fox doesn't let age define them. But we live in a culture where age is like this constant definition. And I think it's all of us are fucking secretly scared of death because nobody wants to go into a black box forever or, into Jesus land or hell land or wherever you go to. So I think that there's this whole lifetime of just what do we do? And sort of like this is predictive behavior. But I think it's so dangerous to continue. And it's not only negative for you because you continuously feel like the clock is ticking, even if you're jovial about it and you don't get to enjoy the time you're in. But it's also dangerous because it sort of creates an ageism. Because if it's negative, you feel old, right? And I thought this when I was younger. And because we don't live in a respect your elders culture like Japan, right? We live in a fuck you if you're old. The Pepsi generation is what started this shit. It's like, oh, the Pepsi, it's all young and new. Everything's new. Out with the old. So what that does is it's dualfold. It makes you feel like you have less time. But what does that say to be to somebody who actually is older than you? What does it say to them? It says that they have less value because you're complaining about where you're at. And I'm telling you, that's total bullshit, And I can say it right because I'm the same person I was, give or take insulting a few people here and there, at the age of 46 as I was at 26, as I was at 16. Like, I'm just a nice dude that makes people laugh. So, in fact, I'm probably smarter and better now than I was. Do I have more aches and pains? So let's talk about the physical. Is a definition of old. I think in some ways you could say that's the most defining characteristic. But at what point, like you said before, what's the cutoff for that? At what point do you say somebody's physically old? Austin, what do you think?
I think it really depends on like how you lived your life. What was, like your profession. Because I know a lot of guys, I actually used to work with a guy at the refinery that I was at for a while that had done this physical labor his entire life. I mean, he was only maybe 58 or 60, but like he had done this hard labor for so long and for so many years, it was like he could barely walk. But there are other guys that maybe have like desk jobs, but keep up with their exercise and their fitness, and they're moving as good as ever.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
so you think that? I think, and I'm gonna say this out loud. I think we all age differently.
Yeah.
As far as physical age, like I feel like I'm not trying to brag. I feel like I'm aging slower than the people around me. Because I look at my friends, and if you're out there, dudes, and you're listening to this, I'm so fucking sorry. You motherfuckers look old. Now I'm doing it to them. It's terrible, but they definitely look older than me. And part of that is genetics. I stay out of the sun. I work out. I'm a laughy guy. I don't know. Maybe they just, they got bit by the fucking old tree. I don't know. But they look 20 years older than me, some of them. I'm like, how the fuck did you do that? I think they just destroyed their bodies. So anyway, quick shout out to the chat room. What's up? It's funny enough. Somebody named the warm embrace of death just joined the chat room and said hello. I don't know how to take that. We're talking about age, and here comes the warm embrace of death. We have Al, and we have Peppa Guy. I appreciate you, dude. He said something very funny before. I don't remember what he said, but he said fucking hippies. I don't know why he would say that. It had nothing to do with age, but I thought it was hilarious. And then Al said, there are people on the old people on the bus who disrespect me. I don't take it like a bitch. They don't respect me. I don't respect them. Even if I don't like someone, I will respect them. Well, I appreciate that. So But maybe they're not old. So what is old, guys? What is it? What is old? What does it mean? Like, when are you old? Because the conversation is we all need to stop saying this. It's stupid. It's really, really stupid because we hear 12-year-olds tee-heeing about it. Okay, so we cover responsibility, right? What's the difference between new and old in your eyes, Austin? Define new and define old.
As in, like,
well, you
choose what?
Anything. What would you say is something new and what's something old? Where's that line in your brain?
I don't know. Maybe like new is anything that's just fresh and unique, and I don't know. Old is just maybe just that thing that you was always doing that's kind of getting, because like it seems like the old is like begins to get phased out at a certain point when like newer methods are developed.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
then it's like, oh, that's old.
That's
and then
interesting.
This is the new.
That's the new way to do something. I could see that.
Yeah.
So you feel like people can fall into that category too? There's a person, they were the new thing, and now they're the old thing, and they're getting replaced by the new thing. That's very interesting.
Yeah, because I think one of the big things that I hear a bunch of older people complaining about is how, you know, how Walmart is doing the self-checkouts like all over the store. Like they're not going to have any cash registers or anything anymore. Like all of it's just going to be like you go up there and you check out all your own groceries and stuff. And they're saying like, you know, back when I was whatever age, you know, you had to talk to someone, there was interaction, and you're taking away jobs, and it's like, but it's like that's getting phased out for a more convenient option.
So let's define old, right? Actual old as refusal to accept change. I'm going to define it. Not physical age, not mental age, not responsibility, but I would say old is inability to change with the times. Inflexible, I would call old. Because I look at myself, right? I play video games. I'm always on the cutting edge of what I'm doing. I'm always pushing the envelope. And part of my brain, and I did this to myself for a long time, I treated myself like I was old. I said, oh my God, I'm 28. I don't have enough time to do what I want to do by 30. I'm so screwed. I can't do it. I'm old. Right? Or the hot new young thing is going to come out. It's 22 because I'm already 28. Then I was 30. I'm like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. I got 32. That's it. I'm 32. Then I'm 35. Same thing. And every point I put this pressure on myself. Oh my God, you got to be successful. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. Because I felt like, man, I'm getting old and the new thing is going to replace me. And at some point you got to say to yourself, I'm always the new fucking thing if I want to be. And that number doesn't say anything about what I can accomplish. My accomplishments are what will define my age. My accomplishments are the thing that are going to be the things seen in the world. And I'm able to accomplish in the same exact way as somebody 20 years younger than me, if not better. And when I can embrace that, then I can be as successful now as I can be at 66 at 76 because I'm just putting my shit into the world. And I think that's real eternal youth. Until the day I'm gone, I'll have never gotten old because I'll just keep doing. And I think that's a
really good point.
Thank you.
Just even from just something that everyone here that's a regular of this channel can relate to you on. It's like, you know, you're 46. You know, whenever I was, you know, young, this Twitch thing was never even thought of.
Right.
And especially not at your age. I mean, technology was twice as different as it was when I was growing up.
Right.
It's like, and you have adapted and figured out, you know, Twitch and how to be a broadcaster, entertaining an audience. And these are things, like I just said, was never, ever even thought of.
Well, because I'm always chasing the new thing. Like, I'm always chasing and trying to...
So you're staying young in a way.
Yeah, I'm staying relevant by staying with the current. You know what I'm saying? I'm still on the fucking surfboard. Like, just because I can't run as fast as somebody 25 years younger than me, just because I can't play a video game as twitchy as somebody who's 30 years younger than me, doesn't mean that I can't run faster than a lot of you fucking motherfuckers. So don't even try me or play that game just as well as you. Don't test me because I've been practicing for a long-ass time. And I was the guy with all the awards and video game, all that stuff, and champion karate, all that stuff. And you never know, and there's a lot of movies about it. It's pretty cool when you meet the old lion who's been through everything. You know what I'm saying? And actually has a ton of experience. The sword is very sharp, And you're like, oh, I have speed and this and that, and they have knowledge to go with that. It's really interesting because so who's old in that situation? Nobody, because who has the advantage in that situation? So age is.
There are some things even that just never get old.
So I think I prefer the word age, not because I'm afraid of ageism. Whatever the fuck, you're gonna leave me out in the dust. I'm always left in the dust. Who gives or out in the fucking cold? I'm always in the cold. What do I give a shit? I care that I'm performing at my best, no matter what age I am. And I also am having one of the reasons I have this podcast is to, and I agree, respect your elders, said somebody in the chat room, is to sort of convince myself of these things. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost speaking to myself, my own therapeutic way of saying, dude, it's never too late. It's never too fucking late. Never too late. You can be whatever you want, or at least try to be that, at any age. Sometimes you have the advantage. This is what's really cool, right? As opposed to something old. When I think of old, you know what I think of? Mummies. You know what I'm saying? Shit that's actually old by human standards. I don't think of fucking a person. I could say I'll say that's an older man, but I don't like to be like that's an old man. I try not to because he's just an older man because it's all relative, right? And that older man may have something that I don't, an advantage that I don't, something that I look up to. He has the longer lens. He sees more of the landscape. And if he's not rigid, he sees all the things that have happened before and may happen again and all those kinds of things. And that's awesome. That's not just a respect thing. That's being fucking smart and realizing that, whoa, this guy's seen a lot of shit and has perspectives that I don't. And in my ignorance of calling myself old, I'm actually missing out on somebody who can see the world in ways that I just can't. And that's just something just to open your brains and open my own. It's just like, don't respect your elders, you know, learn from their perspectives, ask them questions. You know, they're your elders. They're not old. They're still here. You know, old is fucking shit you visit in a museum. Old is some silent movie that was created 150 years ago. Because that's a human standard, right? And when you think about the universe in terms of like billions or trillions of years, the fuck gives a shit a difference about whether you're fucking calling yourself old at 19 or if you're doing it at 59. It's stupid. Sorry, I pontificated, Austin. Forgive me. That's what old people do. We preach. You know why we preach? Because we see more shit.
I think it's a really good point you're making, though, because think about whenever you were growing up and how, you know I did this a lot, and I have told my dad differently, of course, now, but you know, think about all the things that like your parents told you that you should do and that you didn't do because you thought you knew better than them. And then years later, it's like, oh my God, shit. My dad is actually way smarter than what I thought.
I'm stupid. My ignorance of trying to do new things, which there's nothing wrong with, is good. Fox said something very interesting. He said, when it's your birthday, you're never a year older. You're a day older. Just a day older. And 100% right. So it's not a year. It's a fucking new day. It's just a reflection point. Now, look. As we age, things in our bodies start to break down. You got a dog, that shit's crippled, it's walking around, you got to put it to sleep, whatever. It's fucked up, but it is what it is. So the body will break down, you know? But is it old? And I just don't know where that cutoff is. And I think it's stupid for other people to define. I remember I've had my, obviously I play video games with all ages, right? People older than me too. You know, I'm not the gold standard for the golden age. I'm Jeskidding. I'm fucking eternal. But I have these kids, they try to come to my chat room and try to insult me. And they're like, ha ha ha, you're old. I'm like, bitch, I'm the fucking goal. You're insulting the goal. You want to be me. You want to grow up to not be fucking dead and be able to be on camera and playing video games. Like, how can you look in your future mirror self and be like, ha ha, look at you. You piece of shit. You ain't going to get there if you keep talking like that because somebody's going to snuff you out who's older than you. Who's smarter than you. It just made no sense. The goal is to age. It's not the penalty. It's the goal, right? I mean, we're in the fucking... Okay, put it this way, Austin. I want to see what you think of this. When you're... I'm eating a sandwich. It's fucking delicious. If you've been a firefighter, so you've fought fires, you've faced death. Have you faced death? I have. Not in fires.
I have seen things, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So... is not the goal in those situations to survive?
Certainly. I mean, I've not had my own personal life at risk very much. Like maybe once
I have.
that I would think of immediately, but it's usually been other people that are in the danger. But I think the response is kind of the same.
Yeah, of course. It's just you want to survive because it's built in and you want to live on. So why the fuck would you come into somebody's fucking chat room or wherever you are and be like, ha ha, you're old. That guy fucking won. He survived. He's still here. You know what I'm saying? The goal is to survive and move on and procreate or play chess or, you know, annoy people at the supermarket. Whatever people who are supposed to be old do, or greet people at Walmart. Whatever those things are. But I'm just hoping for me that when I'm 75, I can be the George R. Martin. That I can just be fucking awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it didn't matter when you discovered what I was doing or whatever. I'm just fucking great. Like Curb Your Enthusiasm, like Larry David, or whether you like his politics or not, Bernie Sanders, or, you know, people. Why do you think it is that, you know, Trump, whether you like him or not, I don't give a shit. Most of those presidents are like, this guy's like 72 years old. You think people are going on his Twitter being like, ha ha, you're old? This guy's the fucking president. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still achieving, at least in his own way. I'm not a fan, but he's the president. And if Bernie Sanders was the president, these guys are the fucking president. So they're up there doing it at an age that you're considering done. I think it's stupid. That's why we need to immediately stop saying, I'm old. It's stupid. It doesn't apply. Okay, a couple more topics, and then we'll move on to the chat room. Anybody in the chat room wants to join in, we'd love it. Of course, there's going to be a Discord. You can join the stream chat thing, and I will drag people in too quickly because, you know, old people don't have a lot of time because we're going to die soon to say things, right? Okay, so we named some old things. How about the use of, and this is, it's applied across all culture. I think it's interesting, where people are like, oh, this conversation just got old. You know, oh, this game is getting old. It's like, it's such an awful term because it says that the second something is outworn its welcome, it's old. And that's universally applied to people, or even applying it to himself. It's a demonic term. Do you have any reaction to that, Austin?
That's a perspective that I had never even considered. How people say stuff like that. I would have never correlated.
Yeah, that's because I have a longer lens, not penis, longer lens, not as girthy. And I can see things that you can't. And that's hard for people, not you, because you're a very respectful young man, to admit, you know? I know I've said it too, Danny, absolutely. And somebody in the chat room said, I say this video game, Overwatch is dying, right? And it's true. It's mixed into my language too. So when I say stop, we need to all stop saying, I include myself in this, and I'll still keep saying it, I'm sure, because it's part of culture, but saying I'm old, this is dying, this is dead. Well, dead is a different thing. That's a better topic, right? I mean, this is dying and dead are different than old. This is dying means like it's going to go away completely, right? An older person who's actually dying is actually dying. But that could be happening to a 12-year-old. There are 12-year-olds who are dying. Is that 12-year-old old? You know, something for their life, they are. Because it's the end of their life. And that's just facts, you know? But is a person who just got hit by a car and dies, are they old? Because their life was short? And they say, oh, they died so young. Well, relatively. How about the dog that died at fucking 10 as opposed to 14? You don't say it about that dog, do you? Little Spot. Little Spot didn't get to live to 11. That could have been like 200 in dog years, right? Or ant years. I don't know. How long do ants live?
You'd have to Google that.
I have a computer. I could do that because I'm young enough to know what the internet is. All right, so let's go to chat room. You know me. I live in tangents, bro. I can't help it. This has been, and as I age, because I'm aging, there's no doubt about that. I'm aging. Guess what, Austin? You're aging too. Everybody in the chat room, you're aging as well. We're all aging. And guess what we're aging at? The same exact rate. 1 second for me is 1 second for everybody. Am I older than everybody here? No. There's somebody in the chat room older than me. Is she old? No, she's awesome. You know what I mean? She's an individual. And she'll be an individual till the day she dies, just like everybody here, just like me and everybody else. And I just hope we can get to the point where we're judged by our output. Because I never understood this when I was a kid. Why we had such disrespect for people that are older than us in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never understood that. Like, you know, everything has to be new. Everything has to be replaced. Everything has to be fresh. Right? Why can't something that's older be fresh? Why can't those ideas come? And the truth of the matter is, this always made me laugh, is that almost all content that's created for people who are in their teens that think that everything is new and fresh, and then whoever the Britney Spears of her time, or who's the Shake It Off girl, who's now on her way out probably, what's her name? Shake It Off, who's that?
The Shake It Off girl?
Shake It Up, whatever the fuck her name is. I actually like the song. Forgive me, I can't remember it.
I really don't have a clue.
Whatever her name is, or the Tyler Perrys of the world. Oh, wait, that's a different person, not Tyler Perry. That's Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, yes. So whoever the new Taylor Swift is, they're going to disappear too and be replaced by something fresh and something new. But what if Taylor Swift herself had something really interesting to offer? And it's like the evolutionary fight to be replaced by the next thing. And the next thing always wants to replace you because you've worn out your welcome and they want what you have. And it's more actually a fight for power than anything else. But the ironic thing is those people who enjoy the music, who are like 14 and they think it's for them, or they enjoy the movies like, oh my God, remember when we were kids? Avengers was our movie. Or whatever it is at the time. Or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or a large variety of pop culture. There's a room full of like 45-year-old people making that shit for you. So the thing you think is yours for your generation is actually created by somebody 30 years older than you.
It's just like the people that say, I know people have said this to you before, where they're like, aren't you too old to be playing video games?
I don't know. Aren't you too old to be appearing naked somewhere? I don't know where I'm going with that. I was going to get really offensive. And I just said, no, there's a cutoff switch. It's like hold on, it's like this thing. Oh, no, not that. This one. Wherever that was going in my brain, hit the cutoff switch. It was going to go to a bad place. I'm like, whatever, Jessica. Okay, I couldn't talk. So you were saying?
I'm impressed you stopped yourself.
I have a sensor. It's not very good, but it's there. So you were saying, somebody said to me, what? What'd they say to me? I'm old or whatever?
Well, they say it to anybody that's like your age. Like, oh, you're 46 and still playing video games. It's but the point you made is like 46-year-olds make them.
Asshole. Look at the heads of all these game companies.
Yeah.
These guys are 50s, most of them. They're making billions of dollars.
They have their finger on the pulse. They generally
they're telling you
what people want,
what you like, and then you and 10,000 of your friends will get together and complain about it anyway, because that's the newer generation. That's what young idiots do. And you know what's ironic? How mad people who are considered millennials get when they're grouped into millennials. They hate it. They go crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's the same people who use like this fucking reverse ageist language. It's ridiculous. Like, oh my God, you're old. Like, don't follow her. She's old. You know what I'm saying? Like, and those old people just become like old singers. All of a sudden, they're now hosting America's Got Talent because they're not young enough to be related to be desired. It's so stupid. It's like, why can't somebody be attractive? I understand in the biological sense, but a woman in attractive in their 30s or 40s or 50s. Or 60s to some. Because it's all relative, right? What if there's like this like banging hot like 75-year-old girl?
I've never seen one.
Bro, you just haven't looked because you think they're old.
You're right.
You haven't looked.
Not because they're old, I just don't look.
No, I don't look either. But my point is, because I'm not in the age bracket that I would. But when I get to that age, and if I'm like fucking 95, but like, yo, you check out that hot young 75-year-old, it's all relative, dude. It's all relative. So here, Charlize Theron. Danny says Charlize Theron is hella attractive. And she's 43. But people just don't think about it. They don't think about it. They're just like, oh, well, she's just Charlize Theron. That's why I love Charlize Theron and Robin Williams and Jeskidding. That's me. Because these are eternal people. These are people we don't age in the traditional way. It's not that we don't physically age. It's just that we are who we are, and we don't give a shit about your definition of us, you know? I'm putting myself in that category because I want to be in it. Maybe I don't belong in it, but fuck it, I'm throwing myself in it because Jeskidding at 46 don't give a fuck. Same.
I thought you were saying that, well, I'm 46 and I'm hot, so I'm in this category.
Yeah, I'm one step below Charlize Theron. Yeah. I'm like Charlie Theron.
And that one lady from Friends, she was in Friends. I don't even remember her name. She's hot as muck too.
Hot as muck. What does muck mean? Is that an old people term? Muck?
That's how I get around saying the F word.
You say muck instead of fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, that's an old thing to do. That's some 75-year-old shit. You don't want to say the word fuck. You say muck, bro. That's
trying to clean up my language.
I like your style. You're just trying to be responsible, and I guess that. So what we're getting to today is we're just talking about people just need to stop saying I'm old. It's stupid. So let's go to the chat room and let's talk to the chat room about being old. Warm Embrace said, today was my 1000th birthday. Happy birthday, dude. I hope you live to 3000 so we can experience the lens of a 3,000-year-old fucking mummy. Because you ain't surviving to that shit. Well, maybe you will. I'm going to be put in a robot. I'm going to be fucking, I'm going to have, robot legs and run around and stimp them up. It's going to be great. And then, Seoberleman, I can't even pronounce your name. He said, hello there, young one. I don't know what he asked me about some ronk rat. I'm sure it's very horribly offensive, but I don't know if I enjoy it. Haven't tried it, but I'm hoping to. I mean, look, you know what I also hate? What I think is fucking stupid? The bucket list. This is stupid.
Oh, the things you got to do before you die.
Okay.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, how about just the things you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Why is that restricted to some fucking list? If I just check off all this shit, I'll have achievement unlocked, gotten all this thing before I'm old. And once I'm old, I won't be able to do anything, this and that. How do you know? How do you know that at 75, you won't be the happiest you've ever been? They take polls of people, and I'm not 75. Polls are the, of like people at that age. That's the happiest people they ever are. You know that? Like people in their 60s and 70s? Because they don't give a fuck anymore. They don't care.
I actually didn't.
They don't care.
I think the perspective is way different once you get to, because I think the perspective constantly changes over time. Like, what's important to you now, it probably isn't going to matter. If, there might be tons of people that want all these material possessions or whatnot.
I just want the things
I want to
get
this.
I want all your stuff.
Well, you might get 75 and you're just happy to be alive and, have your family and these things are becoming more important. That just the perspective always changes.
Well, I think at that age, it's not that you're old. You just have less, by the metrics, you have less time left here. That's fact. So we can't ignore that. So is that old? No, it just means you have less time. So you could say a guy who's, when you see somebody that's like, you know what I love when you see videos of people like 110 years old and they're listening to music and they're fucking happy. I'm not like, damn, that bitch is old. It's like, my brain says that's amazing. I want that. I want to be there, and I hope that they're not suffering. I guess I might use the word old when somebody's suffering. Like when age has gone to a point where there's something in their body malfunctioning and they're old, their body's giving out. They're old. It's time for them to not be here and suffer. So that's old to me. But old is not an age. Old is not a restriction on a contribution. That's stupid. Why would we limit ourselves to maybe the next Mozart, right? Doesn't have to be 19 first when he's Mozart. Maybe he turns into Mozart when he's 60 or she's 60, right? Why couldn't that work? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so let's go to chat room. Goodbye, Mr. Warm Embrace of Death. Good seeing you. Appreciate that. Thank you for the sub, Arvark. Appreciate that too. Firefox said, I've never cared what people think of me. They take me for who I am, and if they don't like it, I'm not worried about it. That's the best way to live. I'm trying to give you knowledge from a person who's a little older. She has a longer lens than me, right? And that's fact. You should just be you, and don't be overly concerned with anybody thinks of you or your age or what you do and who you date and, how you consider yourself. As long as you're considerate of others, who gives a shit? Who cares? Because once you get to a certain age, you stop giving a shit about what other people think. I stopped giving a shit at a very young age. That's probably cost me my entire career, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's getting old, me talking about that too.
I usually just say I'm getting tired of, whatever, but even that isn't really, I guess you could say, are you actually tired?
Yeah. I guess old is like...
There's a lot of phrases like that,
yeah,
I think.
You have a big section of the chat room was a big fan of yours, by the way. Somebody said Redneck Rebel is a stud. Somebody agreed with that.
This seems to happen all the time. Last week, someone said I had a big penis.
No, it's girthy. It's girthy. Let's be straight about. It's not big. it's not even directionally challenged. It's just wide. So let's go to chat room. So chat room, what makes you feel old? I'm going to open up the Discord. Anybody want to join? We'll pull a few people in as long as it's succinct. We'll have you go into the Discord, type in !Discord, and we will have you in and say a few sentences on what makes you feel old. What do you consider old? So there is a go into the thing that says stream chat, and I will drag you in one by your old ass bones. I can see, like, I kind of like it, you know, the Danny Glover, I'm too old for this shit. Some shit you're too old for. I agree with that. I think sometimes, look, but if somebody does, then God bless them. But if somebody's like, hey, I'm going to wear fucking, I'm 85 and I'm wearing a mini skirt, you might be a little old for that. By societal norms. There's things you could be too old for. But then sometimes I see that, I'm like, that's fucking awesome. You know, but when's it too old to play video games? None. It's never too old to do this kind of shit. They have a guy playing this game we play, plays Apex, it's a video game. He's known as Grandpa. But he has to assume the role of his grandpa for people to understand him. That kind of sucks. So Grandpa, but he owns it, right? And he's becoming famous. And he's a Twitch streamer. That's amazing. That's amazing because it's usually filled with people who aren't savvy enough to do shit like that or haven't discovered new technology. You know, I think that the key to never becoming old is to just always challenge yourself. Always be looking for the next horizon. Always be looking for the next endeavor and ways to sort of better yourself and then better the lives of you and those around you. You never age. Like the day I die, I won't be old. I'll just be fucking dead. That's really kind of sad. Actually, coming out of my mouth. I shouldn't say that again. I'm getting kind of sad. Let's talk about the chat room. We don't have anybody who wants to talk in the thing, so me and Redneck will just keep talking about this thing.
They may have to join the voice chat.
You may have to join the voice chat.
Stream chat is locked.
Stream chat, yeah, join the voice chat, and if you were here, we'll bring you in. If not, you know, then we'll just, our old asses will continue this. I'm making jokes at this point. Okay, somebody said, by the way, how old are you? I'm 46. So I don't look 46, I know this, but today I let my beard grow out a little bit because, like, evidence, some gray. It's not a lot. I don't look fucking decrepit. I know I got good skin. You know, people like, this one woman, she was like 50. She's like, oh my God, where do you get your cream? I'm like, I do a lot of bukkake movies. I told her. No, I don't do that. No. What do you call it? How do I recover from bukkake? I don't know. You never recover, actually, apparently. No, I don't know.
You can't stop.
Laughing is what keeps me young. You know what I'm saying? So somebody said, wait, how are you 2 years younger than me? We were in the same chess class. I don't know if you're talking to me. I play checkers, dude. I'm not sophisticated
chess
enough
class?
for chess.
Where did you get chess?
Yeah, we were in the chess class. I don't know. I was a mathlete when I was 13. I think one thing about like the idea of aging is, though, the memories get longer. I think that the brain, I don't think necessarily, this is my theory. I'm going to give you a theory on age. I don't think that you get like necessarily like you're more forgetful. I think your brain is just filled with too much shit. I think it's like a computer that's hard drive is fucking full. And something's got to go to let something else in. There's just no more room for more information. So you have to learn new things. You have to unlearn other things. That's just a theory. Because like people are like, oh my God, I'm forgetful. I'm old. Right? No, motherfucker, you're not forgetful. You got fucking 90 years of fucking information in that hard drive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to recall when you were 16 and you were 45 in World War II and you were, you know, I don't know, Miss America. You did a lot of things. I'm proud of you, dude.
Jesus, I'm forgetful now. I can't imagine being 60 or 70. I won't remember anything.
Well, hopefully you find out. That's the goal. You know what I'm saying? If you get there.
It might be a depressing day. I can't.
Why?
Like,
Why?
With my classes and stuff and my homework and like.
But you're not going to be in class. You're going to have a fucking field full of small children working for you, doing hard labor. You're going to be all right.
Right. It's like I got to like make like reminders on everything I know I'm going to like look at. Like my main computer has a bunch of reminders. It's like, do this homework. My phone has it. My laptop has it. Like if I don't do that, I wouldn't do nothing.
No, I'm the same way.
It's terrible.
I wouldn't do shit. I don't know how I do anything today. I'm intimidated by everything. I'm more intimidated now than I was 20 years ago because I was just blind with fucking ambition. Now I see the daunting shit in front of me. That's one of the negative things of having a longer lens, of being older. Having a bigger number in front of your fucking name is that you forget shit. See, I just forgot what I was fucking saying. Oh my God, I'm having a dimension breakdown right now. I'm like going to pieces right now. Where did it even start? How did that sentence even start? Nobody knows. I just trailed off into fucking nothing. I think maybe it's like, I feel like I'm in the movie Up, right? And I'm like, squirrel. Look at it. That's what I saw. I just saw the fucking squirrel over in the corner. I was like, oh, it's a fucking squirrel. And then the thought was gone, and I'm done. But I think I was that way at 13. I don't think this is new. I do remember being 13 years old and being like, oh my God, I'm a teenager. This is amazing. One thing that is hard about any kind of aging, I will say this, for those that are not my age, and there are people older than me, when shit changes, it's weird. That's a weird fucking thing. It's not, I'm old. It's just weird. You call yourself old when it changes. When you see here's signposts that you have, like, when you see your first gray hair, you're like, oh my God, I'm old. You know, when your hair gets thinner, if it does. My hair got thinner. Oh my God, I'm old. When you forget more shit. Oh my God, I'm old. You know, when kids start referencing shit that you don't know. Oh my God, I'm old. That's stupid, dude. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gets something. When you were fucking 13, you changed. You got pubes.
You went there.
You got pubes. And then you were like, oh my God, I'm old. And then you got a little older and you got your first girlfriend or boyfriend. And then you're like, oh, I'm old. I'm in a relationship. Then you realize, you know, you got herpes. Now you're just screwed. Now you're just screwed. You're not old. You're just stuck with it for more years. In fact, that's better to get when you're old. Herpes. Because you didn't have to live with it for like 70 fucking years. Ew. What's wrong with me? Austin, sometimes I say this shit and I have to say to myself, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? What is wrong with you? Is there something wrong with me?
I don't even know how to respond.
I think I get worse every year. I think like, oh, I've improved. I'm so afraid of somebody going into the archives of my shit and be like, oh my God, he said this thing. And I'm like, no, but I'm different now. And then I say some shit like lifelong herpes. And I'm like, maybe not. But maybe I am. Either way, I'm sorry. I'd like to, by the way, officially say on stream so I don't get in trouble in the future. Austin, you ready? You're my witness. This is like a court. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Seriously. You're like that witness they pay in the store. What is that called? You're my notary. You've been notarized. You're good. Okay. I deputized you for this thing. I'd like to officially apologize, and I'll do a longer video about this too because I think it's funny, for everything I've ever said and everything I've ever done. Some things I have not done yet, but might do. Some things a friend of mine said, but I was kind of, I don't know, assigned the value of having done them. And then a few things I meant to say, but got misconstrued. I apologize for all those things, legalist, dominus ominous, in front of witness Austin today. So that when people try to take away my fucking career because I said some dumb shit or did some dumb shit, I want to play them this apology because I'm issuing it. It has been issued. Do you accept my apology for the entire world of dumb shit that I've said or did, Austin?
I think it's good. It's a really good sorry in advance kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it's a retroactive sorry. I think that if somebody can punish me for something I said 20 years ago out of context, like James Gunn losing his job on that movie and then getting it back, or by making an unoffensive skit, I think I should be able to apologize now, and in my later years, blame it on my youth. Say that now that I'm older, use it as an excuse, topic of the day, I can use that as a cop-out. Does that work? Am I good? Because I want to be able to have a career. I don't want people to be like, oh my God, he said a thing. Because who knows, 5 years from now, they're going to be like, oh, and he made that joke about child labor. And he ate a sandwich on camera.
You know, you joke, but it could happen.
Oh yeah, sandwich on camera? That's a crime. I'm eating lamb. One day, could be like, lamb is a protected species of the universe. All the lambs are extinct, and you were eating one. We hate you. I'm sorry. For the final time, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please don't take away my livelihood. Dude, I hope in some way, as I age, I hope that I can find a way to get this crazy-ass voice that it's taken me even many years to cultivate into the world. I really hope so. Because it's fun. It's really fun to have taken all the years of seeing crazy different shit and putting all that crazy shit together and making some fucking new crazy shit that somebody's never seen before. Because only somebody who has seen that much crazy shit. And then 10 years later, take a bunch of other crazy shit, combine it with the original crazy shit, and then I've got like really interesting, long perspective crazy shit. That'd be really cool. MVP in the chat room said, "You're so old." He said it with that in my voice, right? And as we described earlier, MVP, I'm the goal, bro. I'm the fucking thing you want to reach. I'm the milestone, baby. When you fucking enter elementary school, don't you want to graduate high school? Well, I'm the graduation, baby.
That's a weird one.
Bro, have you not been listening to everything I say? This is the weird one.
Oh,
not the child labor, the bukkake, the herpes, the like none of that.
Yeah.
That's not the weird part. This is the weird moment. Dude, seriously. Stop being such an old man about the whole fucking thing.
Out, you know?
Stop being such an old man about the whole thing. Everyone in high school wants to be older, playing video games all day, etc. That's what Andy says. Until their lives are ruined, then they still want to do it. I don't know where that's a whole different problem. Why are we talking about that? Where's the train stream? Somebody asked. Yes, I live by a train, and every once in a while I put it on the camera so that people can see the train go by. But the people who are listening to this can't see the train. So I'm going to put the train on right now. I'm going to put the little blocker on. For those that can't see this, there's a blocker that makes it so there's no glare in the window. I'm describing this experience that you'll never get to see unless you check the YouTube videos. But if you're young enough at heart, you'll venture out. Putting that thing up. Blah, 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 blah. So we have not had any brave volunteers for the to come in the chat room. OC Diva, if you're on, you can come in. Anybody else want to jump in and describe what you think of being old or young is? I would love to hear that. As I've aged, one thing I've learned more is how much more I respect people that are older than me because they've just seen more than me. But I don't respect those that are so rigid in their age. Those are the ones I don't kind of like as much because I feel like they're like stuck in some place, and I don't ever want to be stuck. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, I got to pick the wrong camera. Ladies and gentlemen, OC Diva. OC Diva in the house. She's amazing. Boo. She's the old lady that talks to us sometimes. She's not old at all,
That's
actually.
great.
She's amazing.
You're amazing, OC Diva.
We think you're amazing. She's the most talented artist I know, and she is also a streamer. And I will link her in the chat room. So, OC Diva, now give us some perspective on this. What is age? What is being old?
What is being old?
Your mic is doing a really weird thing. It's overmodulating on you. I may have to turn you down, or it's not your fault. I'm just letting you know.
Wait, do I sound like a robot?
Yeah, it's breaking up on you a little bit. Is it not? Oh, is it breaking up for you as well, Austin?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can turn you down here. I'll turn you down here. Maybe turn your gain down a little bit. Let's test you again. Much better. Again, keep going.
Okay, no, I just had to unplug it. I think it's this wire because sometimes I sound like a robot.
Maybe that wire's old.
It
needs to get replaced.
Or it's brand new, but it's poorly made.
That's fair. See, that's true. You can be young and poorly made. So next time somebody's young and says something, we're like, well, you're poorly made.
Yeah, you're poorly raised. You were poorly made.
Yes.
So old. I don't know. Like my parents are in their 70s, but I mean, you could categorically say they're old. But sometimes I think people that are younger, when they go, "Oh, you're old," like my nephew, he's 17 or he's like, "Oh, you're old." I'm like, "Guess what, motherfucker? I can do whatever I want, and you got to go to school and do laundry and shit. Obviously, I'm responsible." I'm like, "Yep, you can't drink yet, you can't vote yet, you can't."
Your poor microphone is dying on you. You'll have to replace that cord at some point, and just call them and be like, "Listen, whatever fucking piece of shit old guy over there sold it to me."
Is that better?
Yeah, it's much better. It just goes out. So, okay, so you're saying your nephew's disrespectful. We like your nephew a lot, by the way. He's very cool.
No, he's great. He's like, "You're old." I'm like, "I'm old, but I can do whatever the fuck I want." So, and I have money, and I can go wherever I want. And if I choose, I can drink in public. You can't. Right. There's lots of stuff that you can't do. And guess what? Lots of advantages. Yep. You have not been humbled yet, my friend. The humbling experiences are coming, and that's gonna be your test. And I don't like. It's not a snide, nasty thing, and like I worry that my nephew will get hurt by something and not recover well, because I think that's the biggest thing. But I'm getting older, like I'm getting gray hairs, and like it takes me longer to lose body fat than when I was in my 20s. And I used to, like, I could run and I would lose all my weight, but now I have to run and do kettlebells and do yoga because the collagen production is going down and my muscles are sticking together. So stuff takes longer, and I'm in my late 30s, and everybody was telling me when I was younger, like, just you wait, and I didn't listen. I was like, I'm gonna be the exception. I'm gonna be like the genetic freak.
Yeah, we all think that, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
None of this shit's gonna happen to me. But age. There's a famous saying from Indiana Jones that I love. It's not the years, it's the mileage. And there are people who are 21 years old to look fucking older than me. I'm
yeah,
like, how is
like saddlebags.
Yeah, I was like, you're so young. How do you look so fucking strung out? Like being like laying in the sun and fucking turning into a leather bag and smoking and drinking and like just basically running themselves in the ground. And I'm like, and some of them just seem so cynical and
isn't that crazy,
like,
right? So I want to jump in on what you're saying here. Your mic still is doing that a little bit. If that's okay, because I think that's very interesting. I'd like to jump on that topic. Is that okay? Cool. I'm
of course.
So sure. I think that there's like what's sad for somebody who's older than you, like Fox or me. If I'm older than some of the people here, not everybody. What's sad is being jaded. That's not. That's something that can happen to you after a lot of bad shit's happened to you. But when you're fucking jaded and you're 17, you're 19, and you're like cynical about everything, it's like, dude, you haven't even been fucking humbled yet. Once you get humbled, right, you're either going to become more jaded, you're going to be like, this is stupid. My jadedness is what's leading to me being humbled. My fucking negative outlook on everything is you're prematurely turning yourself into that caricature of an older person. Because trust me, people as they age, they start to give a fuck less. In a lot of cases, they're not always angry. Some are bitter, but when you're pre-built better, you're wasting your physical youth on just being fucking angry about bad shit. Don't get me wrong, but you gotta try to. I highly just try to spend time instead of looking down on people who are a tiny bit older than you, even 5 years old and 10 years old, or 20, 50 if you can, with people who have that longer lens, so they can explain to you perspectives that aren't yours, so you can see your own life in a longer lens. So important. It's so important to take your own brain and be like, yo, let me break down not what happened to me last month that's made me angry, but who I am for the last 10 years. So I can see my next 10 years and see the change and evolution. Let me count it down. It always helps me when I'm having like a real stressful time to sort of like chronicleize, if that's a word, my time doing something or being a certain way. Then I get filled with pride because I see the lens from a longer perspective, and I'm proud of that. And I'm excited by where the next part of that puzzle comes, as opposed to being young and being jaded because you put the one brick in and it didn't fit the last brick, but you've got an entire house you're going to build. It's just 2 bricks. Go get another fucking brick. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, I don't know if your mic is good or not, but I think it's an amazing perspective. Does anybody else in the chat room, Andy, anybody else want to come into the stream today? And if not, totally okay. Bubby, you always have something to say about age. Bubby's about 34. And by 34, he's already feeling, and I think it's relative, right? At 34, you feel, oh my God, I'm old compared to these kids that I'm playing these games with, video games, that is, not weird run around the house games. Sorry, Bubby. But like, I don't know why I even associated with that. I'm doubly sorry. But like, right? But like, it's age is relative to who you're with, right? So when you're 34 and you're with a bunch of high school kids, you feel old. When you're Kobe Bryant and you're 33, whatever he was, and he's still doing good, or 35, he's like an old man compared to the 19-year-olds, and he feels old. But the second he steps out of that, he's fucking young in the relative scheme of life. It's all like contextual, right? So when we use the words like getting old, oh, I'm getting old, use it in the context. Don't just use it universally. It's stupid. Anyway, you gonna say something, Erica? I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. That's my mic. It's okay.
Yeah, you actually sound really good. So.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because like you were talking about, being younger, and like my parents, I made mistakes in my early 20s, and I was hanging out with these people that were not very good, and like, look, these people don't care about you. You're something to do when there's nothing else to do. You need to stop hanging around with them. It's like, what the fuck do you know? Like, I'm like, I know more than you, and I'm 21, and I'm so much smarter than you. What do you know? You're old. And then I didn't have the perspective, and I got my ass kicked. Obviously, I wasn't like beaten, but I was like emotionally fucking destroyed.
Right.
And the guy did do awful physical things to me here and there. But we won't talk about that. Fuck that guy. Well, yeah, but when I was after I got out of all that stuff, I was like 23, and I didn't have an epiphany, but I had a lot more respect for my parents, because I don't know what clicked, but my mother grew up in New York City. It's basically another fucking country, and all the shit that went on here, and I didn't understand. She grew up in the fucking projects, and she was Italian, living in the Lower East Side of New York City. I did not know what that meant until I was older and I started gaining perspective. My father was a POW in fucking Vietnam. Like, what the hell do I know? I'm this stupid fucking spoiled brat kid that was raised in the suburbs. Yeah, it was a little tough for me because my parents didn't have a ton of money when I was a kid, but I was just basically this kid that was sheltered. They sheltered me from all of that shit.
And don't you think, at this point, like, looking at your parents, don't you feel like you switched your perspective from you're just older than me and you don't know to you're awesome at some point?
To holy shit, you've been on the planet longer than me, and they weren't trying to tell me how to live my life. They were trying to warn me. And like my even like thinking about my aunt and my grandmother on my mom and my dad's side. Like my grandmother on my dad's side lost an uncle I never met. He died when he was 17. And then a few years later, my father's dad passed away. And like, I don't even stop to think about the strength that they had as a family. And my grandmother immigrated from Mexico City to Oklahoma and then moved to New York City. And like, I just don't, like, when I was younger, I didn't stop to think about this. I'm like, holy shit, like, these people did some fucking crazy things. What? And like, I look at them with admiration. I'm like, this is the shit that I come from, in a good way. This is the stuff that I'm made of and what I come from. So like, just think about it. Like, and I know there's unfortunately some people that don't have the same perspective of me and come from shit that's really difficult and depressing. So I'm not saying, oh, you have to think just like I do. And there's people that have been exposed to things that I was never exposed to as a child, or even still as an adult, I haven't been exposed to. So I try to look at everybody, or actually the thing I have is empathy. Now I have a much higher developed sense of empathy for people that have been through things, and I really try, with the bit of wisdom I've picked up along the way, to just try to be compassionate towards people. And unless somebody's really coming in, like whether I'm online or in person, somebody's really coming at me with venom, I try to just like to give people their space.
All right, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish what you're saying. I need to move on to Bubby for a second. And
I'm sorry. That's why I wanted to show. So bring Bubby in. I'm talking too much.
No. Your perspective is awesome, and it's very heartfelt. So it's super appreciated. And what it basically says, just to sum it up in my brain, is there'll come a point when you're sort of saying, "Oh, I'm old," and you actually get to a point where you really understand what that means. It's just a state of mind. It's a viewpoint on the world, and you'll stop using it, and you'll start using it in a form of respect for those that not only came before you, because there'd be no television if there wasn't a Thomas Edison. There'd be no, this is an evolution, and it's amazing, and it's like we are very, very inflammatory about not only those that came before us, but those that are still on the path who are in front of us. I mean, that's what I consider, and your respect for those people is phenomenal. And it's like everybody will develop that respect at some point, hopefully, right? But the sooner you develop it, the sooner you can learn from it. The sooner you can have people like who are in Erica's life sort of impasse that knowledge onto you, so that you can combine it with your new outlook on things, because your outlook is newer, because you are fresher into the world, right? So I think that's why we said, hey, let's bring Bubby in here real quick. Oh, Bubby's in here. How are you, Bubby? Good to see you, dude.
Hello?
Hello. What joke did I make about you before? Child labor? Who knows? I'm sorry. I apologize, sort of.
I did just get my riding lawnmower, so
there you go. Get to work.
You young mow the lawn for me.
Whippersnapper. All right, what is your perspective? What is old, my dude? And we're gonna conclude this podcast soon, but I want to get one more thing, and then we'll sort of come into a conclusionary phase where my old ass wraps this all up. See, that's humor. I'm just fucking with it. I'm really old. I'm just broken down. They're different. Okay, Bubby, go. What you got?
So two short things. So one is the concept that, age is a number. It's more how you feel. And these days I do agree with that. But last year I took some time off working out in the gym, and I started to feel what my other friends were talking about. Oh, my knees hurt, my back hurts.
Right.
I'm getting fat. So at that point, it's like, I hope that's not true, because I feel like shit. So how old am I when I feel that way,
Well, you wouldn't know, because you've never been the age of that.
Right. So it's
just quick reference, Bubby. Somebody's joined the channel. What's up, Ann? My mother had she doesn't mind me talking about it. She was sick once, and she went to the doctor, and she had some problems, and we got through them, thank God. But I was at the doctor with her. We were making sure everything was good, and she said to the doctor, she's like, I don't know why I feel this way. I've never felt this way. What's wrong with me? And she said, Stephanie, you've never been 74 years old before. It's like, it's interesting, right? Because you don't know till you get there. So even if you're projecting that, you don't know. That's what you think it'll be like. You're probably right, by the way, Bubby. Please continue.
Well, no, I completely agree. I can say now, 7 years later, I went through a divorce, went through substance abuse, bouncing from home to home. Like, you want to talk about feeling old, like when you have nothing going for you. But here I am 6-7 years later, pretty significantly older at this point, but I feel so much younger, just emotionally, like everything is finally coming together. I think a lot of that does just come with maturity over time. But another thing I've realized is, now that I'm a dad, my son's 8.5 years old, I realize there's nothing special about me or my parents or their parents. They felt the same way. When you get to this age, I don't feel the way I felt about my parents when they were my age. I still feel like a kid. I'm still calling my mom like, oh, what do I do? I don't know what to do. How do I do this?
I do the same thing all the time. I saw my mom today. I spend half of the day being like, I messed up. How do I handle this? And I'm 46 years old.
Yeah, it's you just realize that in comparison to how you are when you're younger, your parents have it together. But once you're there, you realize nobody really has it together. No. We all need other people. We need help.
Yes. And
so I think that makes me not feel as old as I used to think 33 was old. Like, I used to think, oh my God, my dad's so old. But it's not. Like, he was going through the same stuff, making a career, starting a family, buying a home, like all this stuff. It's part of the human experience, and you're not old until you give up.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I agree with that completely. None of us are getting old. We're all navigating life. When we're navigating, and think about it this way. This thought occurred to me today while I was thinking of this podcast. In a moment of epiphany, I was going to say in an old foggy haze, but a moment of epiphany is a lot better. That I thought. That's if I can fucking remember it. Holy shit! This kid wrote something in the chat room, totally threw me off. he said, I wouldn't know if my mom still changes my diapers. Like, my God. Oh, the internet. What a fucking blessing. What a blessing. What were you saying before this, dude? Bubby? At the end, how did we trail off?
Just talking about your...
Oh, I got it. Sorry.
You're not really old till you give up.
So, but the other thing is, like, if you look at it this way, I think this is a great perspective for life. If you're 46, I'm 46. I'll be 47 next year. Oh, surprise. The number comes out the other. 48, 49, 50, 51, blah, 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 blah. When I'm 59, that, you could say, oh, that's old to you if you're 16. Right? To a 75-year-old, I'm young. But if I'm 59, that's the first time I've ever been 59, like my mom. And that's brand new. I get to see the world in a body I've never been in before at that age, with a lens that I've never had that sees an entire 59 years of life before, with a bank account that's hopefully bigger, with accomplishments behind me, maybe with a loving family, hopefully. But that's not the end. That's the first time I've had all those things at that age. And it's the first time I'd faced those circumstances at that age. So why is that old? That's actually new. Because it's new the first time I experienced it.
Yeah, I know my wife's parents, they're both retired, just turned 60. I think her dad's 57. But this past summer, they did a full Four Corners motorcycle ride, like them and like 30 of their buddies.
Amazing.
It was insane. Like
Amazing.
They went from like, I think they went from like West Virginia to Washington State, down to the Grand Canyon, and then back down to Florida where they live. And that's something that like I wanted to do when I was younger, when I was still on my motorcycle every day. That was my main form of transportation. Like, man, I'd love to do like a full country ride. And here they are, quote, old, and they're doing it better than I could have ever done at that age.
Well, I think it gets life gets physically harder. There's no doubt about that, because you live in a physical body, and you got one. And until we're all fucking robots, this is what we got. So physically it gets harder, but in some ways, for a lot of people, mentally life gets easier. So somebody wrote in the chat room, Marvark wrote, it's all downhill after 40, right? And I think he's joking, right? But that's the idea of like it's downhill in the negative sense. And I'm going to say it's downhill in the positive sense in a lot of situations, because you're more in touch with who you are, right? You maybe are more financially stable. You're more usually respected than you've ever been, hopefully, right? You've gotten a lot of friends over your lifetime. So life is actually easier in some ways, and so the idea of you're old as a negative or I'm old as a negative, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's every day is a new day. Every day is a beautiful day. I mean, like, as long as you're here, and then hopefully you left something behind that's beautiful for somebody else. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, and plus I think it's also based on people's experience with what they consider to be old. Like when my dad passed away when he was 55, he was incredibly young by today's standards, especially dying of heart failure. Like, it was very bizarre, but it's because he didn't take care of himself. So my idea of somebody at 55 growing up was like, oh shit, like,
that's it. Yeah,
they might die soon.
That's my Logan's Run moment, right?
Right. But then when I met my wife, her mom and dad are about 55, and they're remodeling their home themselves. They're going on bike rides or going down to the bay to go swimming, bodyboard in the ocean. It really is a perspective change. Like,
oh yeah.
That's what I mentioned earlier. Like I feel like there's some real wisdom in you're only as old as you feel. And if you really take care of yourself, the whole concept of I'm old is a lot different, because as you said, as you get older, hopefully you have some financial security. I guess the way I would see, just take care of yourself.
Yeah, man.
That's one thing. And then do the stuff you have to do when you're young. Grind, work hard. That way, when you get older, you can do the stuff that you really want to do.
That's right. But that's good advice. Appreciation for good advice for aging. But and never think, to today's discussion, never think you're old, because there's no such fucking thing. Because all of us, in the cosmic sense, are like the smallest fucking blip of nothing in the eternity of everything. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Don't do what I've done, which every other person in here has done, everybody in this chat room, everybody I've ever talked to, and prematurely call yourself old. Because there's nothing fucking old about you. Because every day you're goddamn new. Every day's a new day. Just go out there, kick the shit out of it, and leave the fucking oldness. So for people who don't want to change, who are stubborn, who get stuck in their ways, you don't have to be like that. That's just a choice. That has nothing to do with a number, gray hair, you know what I'm saying? Baldness, divorce. That's just the fucking outlook, dude. Just embrace being young, not only at heart, but at outlook. You may not be young at body, but what the fuck does that mean anyway? That changes from the age of 2 to 13. Which one of those is young at body? They're just different. You know what I'm saying? So go out there and just do your thing at any age. And don't make fun of old motherfuckers like me. That's basically it. Okay, so I'm going to conclude this podcast with these young, sexy people that have just been on my podcast. This is Bubby. He's 34, I believe. Bubby, you're 34?
Turned 34 here soon.
34. We have Austin at 26.
Mm-hmm. In 10 days.
In 10 days. And OC Diva at, who's little lady if she likes?
37.
37, and more beautiful than ever. And more vibrant, and more amazing, and more talented than all you fucking young people out there. What?
I married a woman who's
Am I sober?
older than me.
No, I'm fucking I'm having dementia.
Oh my god. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Bubby. I'm sorry.
Not at all.
Oh, that's right. I was gonna say older women are where it's at. I married a woman 2 years older than me.
Look at you, bro. She's an older woman. She's 36.
I know, right? That's what I always tell her. She's always like, "I'm so old. I'm so old." I was like, whatever.
I'm like,
So you're
bitch,
hot.
you
Shut
could
up.
fucking pop out at least 13 more kids. Okay?
Oh my
Stop
God.
it. 13. I did the math. 13. You tell her I said so. Anyway, thank you for the chat. Thank you for the listening, tuning in, for being awesome, for listening to my podcast. It's available on Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes when my dumbass gets it up there, which is usually, old people have trouble getting it up. That's just a joke, right? To go with the conversation. All right. So, yeah, it's available everywhere. And, guys, just thank you for just listening, being a part of this, contributing. And please share it if you like it. I just love doing this, and I just can't wait to do more.